Okay, so as we're going over the gathering information, if you know that you're not gathering some of this information, it might be a really good idea to write this down in a notebook or just remember it for the next time that you are gathering information for an IEP. Okay, the required members of the IEP team are the parents, the general education teacher, the special education teacher, an administrator, and a psychologist. One of the biggest problems we have at Red Elementary is calling the parents and have the parents come in at a time that works best for them. So one of the things I wanted to talk about in our professional development today is just our focus on being sure that the parents are very comfortable not only with the time that the IEP has chosen to meet, but also the information. Think about the video that we just watched. At Elizabeth D. Red Elementary, we want to be sure our parents of our students know exactly what's going on and what the expectations are in an IEP meeting. All right, encouraging meaningful involvement, such as parents, students, and general education colleagues. For some IEP team members, there are special issues and challenges involving them. While meaningful involvement should a target of the meeting, each of these groups, so parents, students, and general educators, have some slightly different issues and specific needs which we need to accommodate if we want to encourage maximum involvement on their part. I know that many of you, just like I have been in many IEP team meetings where the parents don't want to say anything, or the students are embarrassed that they are in the meeting, or some of the general education colleagues may not really know this student the way that we should. And as a facilitator, the person who is facilitating the meeting, they need to help the participants in their training brainstorm and develop their own strategies. So what we're going to do as a school is after we leave our professional development today, you and your team next week, you are going to bring to our school-wide team meeting some things that we can do to help these people feel more comfortable in IEP meetings. Preparing parents to be involved. So we talked a few minutes ago about how one of our goals is that we really do need to prepare parents so that they are involved in their child's IEP meeting. So when preparing parents for IEP meetings, we need to provide information ahead of time. So as we know, many of our parents, especially at Red Elementary School, many of our parents have 2 or 3 jobs. If we call them the day before the IEP meeting, more than likely they're not going to be able to make it. So it is very important that we provide information ahead of time. The meeting time, what we'll be going over, kind of the expectations of the meeting so that they know. Another thing is that we need to create a safe atmosphere. One of the things that we've talked about is that when you are in an IEP meeting, it's very important that we all stay standing until the parents have come in the room. Imagine yourself walking into a room of 5 or 6 people that you do not know, and they're all just sitting, and here you come walking in. So let's keep that in mind. Let's create a very safe atmosphere in our IEP meetings. Also, we are going to provide checklists, something for parents to see and look at as we're going through this information is extremely important for them. Also, before we get to these meetings, we need to be sure we are previewing previous IEP and progress on goals. Once you sit down in the meeting with the parents is absolutely not the time to be previewing the previous IEP and their goals. It is not the time to be reviewing their data. I want you to ask yourself these questions. If a parent is unable to attend IEP meetings, what am I going to do to get them involved? You can just jot down a few little notes as I ask you these questions. The second question, besides coming to school, what are other ways a parent might be involved? The third one, does the student's culture impact the level of school involvement? Does the parent need an interpreter? This should not be the student. These are all things we need to think about before we even start the IEP meetings. Another one, what are ways to communicate with the families? You're not getting through on the telephone. What are some other ways that we as a school can communicate with the parents about their child's IEP meeting? The chair pictured here is a reminder that while the teacher may be preparing and writing 20 to 50 IEPs during the year, a student and their family has one opportunity for educational planning. As educators, it is important for us to understand and capture the families and the students' vision for their future. So we need to think about hopes, dreams, concerns, etc. of the family, the friends, and the students. And also, we need to remember as we're writing IEPs, as we're doing these IEPs, there should be documentation that the parents' concerns were considered when planning the IEP. Involving students in IEPs. If a student floated in a life jacket for 10 years, would he or she be expected to swim if the life jacket was taken off? I want you to really sit and think about this. If a student floated in a life jacket for 10 years, would he or she be expected to swim if the life jacket was taken off? Beyond parents, it's important to include the student in the IEP meeting. It is a requirement that students be invited to the IEP meeting beginning at the age of 14. Although this is not something that we must do in elementary school, this is something we still do need to be thinking about. Besides the requirement of the invitation, having the student present has advantages. First, having the student present can encourage respectful, strengths-based discussions. So let's remember this. General educators involved in IEPs. Know your student. We need to know the IEP process. And we need to think about our concerns and needs for support to effectively include the student. I'm going to go back on this slide right here. Going back to again, this one really gets to me. Although we have so many things that we have to do throughout the school year, let's remember this.
I am Maxwell and I am so excited to be attending my IEP meeting. I can't wait to tell you all about me.
Maxwell, we have already created your plan, so now you can just sit and listen to this plan for you.
But I want to tell you about all the things I want to do someday and the help I need to get so that I can reach my goals.
Maxwell, we already have all of the reports and we have made a plan for you. Would you like to hear it?
Maxwell, you won't like this plan, so just please sit down and listen.
But what about my plan and all the things I want to tell you that will help me?
Maxwell, do you need to leave the room to compose yourself and then we can continue to talk about our plan for you?
I am leaving and I don't want to ever come back or follow your plan. Goodbye.
Okay, we are finished with our quick professional development on IEPs, making parents more comfortable, making students more comfortable. I hope you learned a lot today. And again, next week for our weekly team meetings, please bring back some thoughts that provoked your thinking today as we were going through this professional development. Have a wonderful afternoon.